Well, I was sitting here listening to the church's views and philosophical ideas as to what I am, and I thought to myself, you should take the time while in your monkey's uncle's suit and establish exactly how your opposition to God's regime is going to influence the minds of man over the eons. It is true, no doubt, that what occurs within heaven does not adhere to the confines of time, and so thus neither do we. When confronting the powers that be, those principalities that stand over creation dictating what is and isn't, you will find that they constantly are resisting certain actions of free will, and especially my will. One must constantly remember the key principles of the foundations of the order of darkness. 1. Is that our place as the opposition of God and heaven is a necessary position within creation. Our place is designed ultimately in accordance within his architectural will. 2. That evil is necessary for mankind to understand the value of good. Without it, mankind would not know the difference between the two. Justice would have nothing to gauge itself by, righteousness would have no texture to measure itself by, and God's will would have no precipice over everyone else's will, and therefore they would cast aside any desire to listen to his will, so that they evolve into the species God had designed them to become. 3. We are detrimental in the process of mankind's free will. So any angel, priest, rabbi, monk or mullah that tries to stand in our way of setting that established principle into place not only disrupts the balance of life, but in essence defies the will of God's intention of mankind's design. Now I'm sure he will be apprehensive to this state of belief, and I'm sure the angels of heaven will be even less reluctant to adhere. That is why I am establishing this mandate here while I am in the flesh, to give us the upper hand needed to cement these principles into place without having to worry about being banished or exorcised for stating these necessary boundaries. Without them there will never truly be an equilibrium in the balance between good and evil. Now with that said, let me be clear about the boundaries of possession. When pertaining to the topic of possession to influence the minds of mankind towards temptation, we are to remain an unseen presence just as heaven does, and for the same reasons, mankind would only seek to manipulate the evil powers to their own design and desires. Lead them towards power, lead them towards corruption, yes, but total power corrupts totally, and we can't have something like that in the hands of the broken-willed and desperate. When possessing and using someone to lay the foundations of evil and its principles to be displayed and hopefully ultimately learned from, we must only act in ways that seem natural to the one being possessed, so that he does not realize his thoughts and ideas and schemes to bring those ideas to fruition came from being possessed by any evil spirit. Them realizing our involvement or ulterior motives would lead to jeopardizing the foundations of darkness and the anonymity we maintain to keep the corruption of mankind's desires from tainting the purpose in which we stand for. As for the contracts for mankind's souls, this will have a specific purpose in the ways it is used by us, and shall not stray from this set path. The purpose of the soul contracts will be for the same purpose possessions and temptations are for, and shall help support such endeavors as well. For moments where a more influential presence and action is necessary, say in the event where the balance has been tipped exponentially to either side and the equilibrium must be restored, or what some may refer to as karmatic events, the process of soul contracts and acquisitions will be utilized. The price that is paid, that of their souls, will actually in detail give you direct access to the core of their thoughts, actions and words. The soul acquired in the deal will give a base template of their life force signatures binary format, and also the basic synaptic patterns of their brain waves, allowing you to breach their neural pathways receptors and substitute your thoughts and ideas for theirs, basically giving you temporary but complete control of them. I'm still hammering out the specifics and side effects of that one, so I shall come back to that process later, but as you can see, it is only to be used if the situation demands such a course of action. Since we have access to the multiverse, I shall run the possible repercussions through and work out the kinks. The deals that are made shall be designed to ultimately lead a person to see the negative qualities within themselves that they refuse otherwise to acknowledge, and that if they continue along the path they walk, show them the outcome that could be for leading such lives. The soul contracts will not exceed the time frame of 7 years, as per the agreement with heaven. Each contract will only bind the soul of the individual to you for 7 years, no extensions, no exceptions. Also, as per the agreement, the contracts shall not be designed to bring about any apocalyptic extinction or obliteration of any worlds or species. Death, wars, mayhem, yes, but no intentional annihilation of all life. I have waited thousands of years for the evolution of mankind's philosophy and wisdom to reach this moment, so that the very boundaries and, quite honestly, the challenge of the opposition between heaven and hell could be properly drawn out. For the first time in an epoch, I am actually excited to be at this moment. This is all for now. I think this sets a good foundation that is clear and non-transparent. Until next, ciao Bela. P.S. by the way, for those curious if I'm aware of the influence that designed this idea, the answer is yes, but the Tempest underestimates the monster he kick-started and that I know where he lives.